mis amigas, Careena and Nuevo. Welcome back to my channel where I help you write fiction that's not only engaging and exciting, but also uplifts your readers. So today, I'm going to be talking with you about character arcs. What are they and how do you build them? So the idea for this video came up through a conversation that I was having with some of my fellow writers on Instagram. We were having a chat about different writing things and character arcs came up. Now, a couple of the people on our little chat that we were having had not yet heard of the phrase character arc. Now, most of us are familiar with the idea of a character growing and having a journey during a story, not just on the outside, but on the inside. But not all of us are familiar and know what someone means whenever they use the phrase character arc. Now, before I get started explaining this to you, please make sure that you have subscribed and liked this video. It really helps my channel out more than you know. So, a character arc is the journey that your main character makes and the lesson that they learn along the way. Generally, throughout your story, it's structured something like this. Your main character's internal conflict is based off the false belief or fear that shapes how they make decisions. Something happened in their backstory to give them a misconception about themselves or about the world around them that also provides them fear when they're making decisions and is kind of getting in the way of their goal. The false belief is challenged head-on by the call to action at the end of Act 1. Now, if you're not familiar with the 3-act story structure or how to use the 3 acts of a story, I did do a video series on this. I will link it up in the cards, or up in the cards, I guess it's on this side. So make sure that you go and watch that because that will help you understand how to structure the character arc based on that 3-act structure. So at the end of Act 1, there's a call to action. The main character must make the first step forward in overcoming their false belief. They're not so much overcoming it as much as they're trying to move forward and kind of work around it and still avoiding their fear. So throughout the middle of the story, the Act 2, their false belief is slowly being challenged more and more as the character is step by step just kind of starting to overcome their false belief. Maybe they don't even realize that they're taking steps to move past their fear yet. Maybe they just think they're trying to work toward the goal and they're still probably kind of trying to work around their fear, but they are slowly making progress that the reader at least can see and knows that they are making progress toward getting to the other side of their internal problem. Often at the end of Act 2, there is a crash and burn, an epic fail, or a dark moment where the main character has made some sort of failure, some sort of mistake, almost definitely because of their fear and their false belief, and it has landed them in a terrible mess. They feel like a failure, and ultimately they realize, consciously or not consciously, that their false belief and fear has caused them this failure and that it is harming their life. Suddenly, they realize the truth about their false belief. They realize the truth about whatever it is that has been preventing them from going forward with courage and hope in life, and they go head on into Act 3 to use their newfound truth and courage to overcome not only their fear, but also the external conflict and reach their goal. Now, as a side note, if you're writing Christian fiction like me, and I know that at least some of you guys do, when you're writing Christian fiction, more than likely, a large part of this realization and this heading forward with courage will be based on a realization that the character makes about God or His Word, and a large part of them heading forward into the climax to overcome their problem will be relying on His courage, relying on His truth that they have discovered. And that's just a side note for if you are writing Christian fiction, kind of a big part of the climax will be that, or will probably be that realization that they have about a truth coming from God's Word. Now that you understand the structure, you may be thinking, well, my story doesn't exactly follow this structure. Well, that's okay. My stories don't either. Kind of the first novel type thing that I wrote, I really did kind of follow the structure because I had learned kind of novel structure from an audio commentary on a film, and so it kind of gave me a straight on Act 3 overview of the story because generally speaking, I don't know what it is. I feel like I just heard the 3-act structure it seems like something that you might hear more in films or plays, just kind of the acts. You might not hear about it as much when you're writing novels. But, sorry if you can hear the weed eater. It's Saturday and they're outside doing stuff in the yard. Now, you don't always follow the story structure exactly. It's just a good template for kind of the arc. And that's why it's called an arc, is because you kind of start with your character kind of over here, kind of trying and making decisions based on their false belief, and they're having a struggle, they're having an internal conflict, and then throughout the story they kind of slowly begin to overcome that, and then they overcome it. Now, that's technically more like a straight up line, but if you think about it, you can think about it as arc, because they kind of make good decisions and then they kind of have a failure, but then, so that's an arc, but then they come back up again. So yeah, it's a character arc, whether it completely makes sense or not. That's what they call it. They call it a character arc. It's your character having a false belief, slowly learning to overcome that belief, and then in the end they overcome it and they move forward with courage to reach their goal. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure y'all subscribe and you hit that little bell, ding ding, because next week we are going to be talking about how to find the theme of your story, how to figure out what lesson you're trying to communicate to your readers. So that's all for today. Adios mis migas y Dios te bendiga. Have a blessed day and happy writing. Get out there and write the story that God called you to write. I will see you next time. Bye bye.